Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-wee. Boy, this year is getting good. Man, the shit that's going on right now is crazy. As I walked through the valley of the shadow of death, I took a look at Cyberpunk and realized that shit is dead. That shit is fucked up. Woo! Man. So, either way, as we get into it, as most people who are into games, stuff like that, one of the biggest games that everybody's been talking about and waiting on, it's been in development for, I think, probably 10 years, a decade. Probably 7 to 9 or something like that. It's been almost 10 years in development. And they released the game, and they released the game knowing that it was broken. Meaning, it didn't work. The game went through so many delays and things like that, and it's one of those situations where you don't want to keep delaying the game, but also if it's not working, don't put it out. That's like, I'm going to build this car knowing that it got all these issues with it. Instead of fixing it, we're going to do it later. No. So, situation is that they dropped the game, and mind you, with Cyberpunk 2077, which is created by CD Projekt Red, which is a gaming developer and all that stuff. The game was debuted and supposed to be released in April. Meaning, this game was supposed to come out and be debuted for the last generation gaming consoles and all of that. Meaning the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. And obviously PC and all that stuff. PlayStation 5 and the newest Xbox that just recently dropped wasn't even on the radar. It wasn't even thought of because they didn't even drop or say anything about the new consoles being launched until well after the fact. So the issue is the fact that these people put out the game knowing damn well it wasn't ready, and on top of that, you promised it for the last generations, and the game doesn't even work on the previous generation of the consoles. Okay? So, now we get into a situation where people are pissed, obviously, and people are wanting their money back. And after, obviously, a long battle with some of the companies, Microsoft and PlayStation own, denying people their refunds because of the fact that either, and again, I'm talking about problems with the refund when it pertains to digital download. When it comes to store download, store purchase physical copy, I know you have up to 7 days or something like that, but if something is not working and is defective, you have every right to get your money back. It's the law. Okay, it's like a car. If it's a lemon, it doesn't work, you have every right to get your money back. So if you buy a product and the product is defective, by law, you have every right to get your money back, people. So regardless of what the place you bought your product from, you can contact your card company and let them know. And trust me, anything that's defective and doesn't work, you have the right to get your money back, which is why it's good to always pay with your credit card or bank card, something like that, because you'll get that extra help in getting your money back and things of that nature, okay? So just throwing that out there. But even if you paid cash, always hold on to those receipts and stuff because it comes in handy. But with that being said, when the game came out broken, meaning it doesn't work, things don't render, it's crashing a lot, it's not even working on systems. So the company, CD Projekt Red, said you can just go back to the, obviously, vendor you bought it from, get your money back. Meaning either GameStop, Xbox, or PlayStation. Now, obviously, they didn't talk to them companies because they're like, we ain't doing shit. Only a handful of people at the beginning was getting their refunds and things of that nature. But, yeah, you know how companies are. They don't want to give away money. They ain't trying to give shit back. And so now we run into a situation where first hammer dropped on this game is that PlayStation delisted it from their website. Or, not the website, but being purchased on the console or maybe their website as well, meaning you can't buy it anymore. That's how bad the game is right now. It's broken to that fact that they had to delist it on their site. And now just recently, Xbox has put out a statement saying we are refunding anybody that wants their, refund for the game that they purchased. When before, obviously, these companies are like, no, we ain't giving no refunds. So it comes to the fact that companies should not be putting out product if it's not 100% ready to be launched with no issues. Now, there are sometimes, little issues here and there, a little fix here and there, and the game works. But what's happening nowadays, as I spoke to probably a while ago, is that these companies are now just relying on the fact of people having internet, if you have internet, in order to fix these problems. Because they put this game out knowing that it was broken and already told people, oh yeah, we'll do a day one patch to fix any issues. So you already, in order to put a day one patch when the game releases, means this game is fucked. This game is broken. So you put the product out and say, oh, just download this. And the size of that fix is the same size of a game, which means you're losing space on your hard drive of your console or whatever you play the game on. And now, with that said, it comes into something I've been always saying, that they're losing sight of putting out quality product. And again, sometimes there are mess ups and things don't go right. Totally understandable. But this is a major oversight and a rush to put a game out, not probably because it's on the company that's making the game, but on the company that's overseeing the company making the game and their shareholders, because they want games out every other quarter, every this amount of time, because they want their money and things like that. And when you allow a business to run like that, this is the problems that you run into. Okay, allowing people to dictate how you run your business instead of being the person in charge and letting the business run as it should and put out quality work is a situation where you run into issues like this. Because last thing you want to do is give money back that you just got, because now you're in the hole. And that's not good. Nobody gets paid and all that shit. Now you in debt. But not only that, another problem that's been an issue is the fact for people who do purchase their games digitally, you will always run into an issue when it comes to getting a refund for your purchase, because most companies allow you 2 hours of gameplay and maybe 2 weeks, like 14 days, in order to get a refund. But the question comes, unless that game is 10 hours long or 6 hours, 2 hours is like barely scratching the surface of a game. And let's say you go, the game is like 20 hours or 15 hours to play through completely, and at hour 5, you start seeing all kinds of mistakes and issues with your game, and now you can't get a refund. So I feel like the policies with these companies should reflect on how much of the game you play, rather than just 2 hours, because that's nothing. 2 hours is nothing, And again, that's digital purchase, because they can track and see how much time of the game you played. And I feel like that should dictate how much of your refund you get. If you played 50% of the time allowed for how much it is to complete this game, guess what? You only get 50% of your refund back for this game if you don't like it. And again, this is way different than having a physical game that you can play and then go back and get a refund. But obviously, if you play, and again, unless it's a defect in the game, with the physical game, you most likely will just be getting less of your money back because you'll be trading it in or whatever the case is. But one of the major offenders of this is, from what I hear, is PlayStation, because their policy is, once you download that game and you open that game digitally, you play any part of it, you stream it, you don't have a right to get your money back, unless, again, it's defective, unplayable, which is the issue with Cyberpunk 2077. But even then, they were giving people issues, talking about, no, our policy clearly states X, Y, and Z. And there's been a lot of people out here talking about how they're getting these issues and running into trouble trying to get their money back for this game, when even in their own policy it says, unless it's a major defect in the game, is broken, unplayable, you can't get your money back type of situation, you know? So, um, yeah, I'm going to try to reach out to some people I know who create games and work on games and things like that and see how they feel about it. Maybe even try to see if we can get a Zoom um, talk about it, because I like to see how they feel about this, because it's not just this game, but this game highlights a serious issue that happens a lot when it comes into development of a lot of things other than just games, you know? And again, there's a big disconnect on the fact that not everybody has internet in order to fix the problems with certain games. For example, a lot of people buy the consoles and buy these games physically, pop it in and play. And if there are other features that need to be fixed or downloads, they have no way of getting that. And I'm not just saying, you know, a year into the game, they wanted to add some stuff. You know, that's different. I'm talking about putting something out completely ready to go, no issues, no enhancements and things like that. This game should work perfectly, or this product should work perfectly for everyone across the board. It shouldn't be an issue of, oh, you don't have internet, oh, that sucks for you. No. Like, you should be able to, whatever part of the game this person is able to play, this person should be able to play at the same price point and everything. Everybody should have the same experience, okay? Yeah, so I don't know what is going to happen, but obviously this highlights, again, a serious issue that's been happening, and I feel that somebody needs to step in and regulate this, because if you put a product out and it's defective, you need to be held accountable for that. You need to put out fixes and do a recall and make sure everybody who purchased your product is enjoying your product the same way. Okay, nobody should be left out just because they don't have internet in order to enjoy the product fix that happened and things of that nature. If an issue happened and occurred, especially this early in the game, pun intended, of you releasing the product, then that means that person who purchased your product has every right to get a refund and or be sent a copy of the game with all of the fixes placed on there. So that's how I feel, and that's how I look at things, because I don't believe in putting something out there and you can't stand behind your product. You know, if you can't stand behind your product and be happy with it, why would you put it out? Regardless of the fact of shareholders and all that stuff, guess what? At the end of the day, it's your name and your ass on the line. Shareholders ain't got shit to do with it. All they're going to do is collect a check. Okay? So when you put out a product, regardless if it's video games, clothing, cars, whatever it is, make sure that when you put it out, you stand behind your product. You know? Because if you can't stand behind your product, how do you expect other people to?